For inaugurating the third Decent Energy 2010. May I request my guests to. I think we have more wigs. Aroras have been done. Surely, please come. Sir. I'm seeing more wigs there. I also request our joint president from, please come over, sir. Audience must also. It's an interactive session, so please. I think we are doing for sure. May I ask my friend from Barcelona to do it, please? Come, please come. Yes. Two more attempts. Pranav Mehta ji, you could also like the last one is left. I don't want to be. One more is there.
Each one is a 1 gigawatt.
Yes. So let's light up the 200 megawatts. Please give them a big hand. Third for my dear friend Anthony Smith. The fourth one, may I request for Mr. Avinash Limaye from Sterling and Wilson. The next one for Mr. Pranav Mehta. And last but not the least for, I would say, one of my best, I would say, friends, mentors, and a real guide, Dr. S.L. Patil, Thane Belapur Industrial Estate. Now, the one memento for Dr. Khanna, may I request Hetal Bhai to please come and give it? It's ideal. Hetal Mehta is the group chairman of Southern Gujarat Chamber of Commerce, Surat. Thank you, everybody. We will have our chief guest today, Mr. Suresh Prabhu, coming in any time. I just had a word with him. Incidentally, we would have had Mr. Razdan, who has been so kind enough to almost be part of most of our programs. I tell you that he has just been in the jury of the Inertia Awards, and these awards will be given away on the 6th of October. We will be at the same place. That's quite a big ceremony, and we would have all the three halls here doing, I would say, being used. And we have some 19 awards, and this year we have introduced an award for the educational institutions. So we have two of the jury members here. T.C. Arora Saab, who was kind enough, they took the entire day to help us out, and Mr. P.V.S.N. Murthy. And this is the only, I would say, the kind of jury where there are technically sound people who have spent decades in the power industry who are judging these awards. And these are the fourth year and now considered to be the topmost awards in the country. I would request all of you to, if possible, to spare time on the 6th of October and join that group also. And Anil Razdan Saab could not come because he has a dad who's crossed 90, and Razdan Saab was one of the men who brought a lot of changes in a short time in the power sector, including that ultra mega policy implementation, I would say. So things happen, during his time, but in a short time, and he's now involved with most of our forums, and he was to fly in, and I had to cancel his ticket yesterday. But we have the former Power Minister coming in any moment. He's stuck with the small traffic, and we should have Suresh Prabhuji with us any moment, He's a good friend of mine. So this forum, Decent Energy, is basically continuing in the same pitch of discussions, while Arora sir would still say that we have a lot of ultra mega thing going on. But I say, yes, that takes about 6 to 7 years, and we will have this nice discussion where we reach. But in the intermediate, the best thing that can really help India is decentralized and distributed power. Now, when we use this word decentralized and distributed power, it can mean a lot. It is not only what we have written there, 50 gigawatt target for gas and biofuel based, but it could mean solar decentralized, it could mean wind decentralized, it could mean, I would say, the combined heat and power in the case of the sugar industry, cogeneration. So a lot of things can come into the entire ambit. But we are limiting our discussions for the moment to the gas issue and the biodiesel issue. So we are not saying that this is the only kind of decentralized power. The concept of decentralization will be much larger when you look at the picture. We do understand, but in a practical sense, what we can achieve in a short period of time is of critical significance for all of us. And Inertia and the Decent Energy Forum of India, which actually supports this particular idea, wants a reasonably large capacity to come from both gas and biodiesel combination. Biodiesel is still a long way off, but I think the discussion is on. I meant to say there is a good chance of discussing it. But before that, let me look at gas. With the great opportunity, with that, literally I would say the controversy between both the Reliance Group going away, I think the opportunity is open. And I think people are slowly realizing that a group of smaller power plants are far more, I would say, viable and faster than thinking about a 1500, 2000 megawatt at a time. We know we don't have to repeat and talk about what happened to the Enron case, at that point of time. But today maybe we'll argue we have gas, and then we can go for the larger power plants. My thinking would be different, that still land acquisition and other issues in India would continue to plague these projects and push them back, and we would be still competing with the situation of a 6 to 7 year path for an ultra mega project or a large thermal project versus a gas project which would say, let's say, cut off about 2 or 3 years, but yet it will go about 3 or 4 years up, Like Sujan is a good case. Torrent tried to move it fast, but I think it still took 4 years to complete. There was no doubt. So I feel the practical example here is, if I take a 50 megawatt, 25 megawatt project, I can decentralize in real sense. Gas allocation can be done reasonably, and we can have this cluster of projects moving across our urban sector at least. And these projects can literally light up the situation for a region like Mumbai metropolitan region, which is actually 22 million people today, and let us say an NCR. I would not take the entire NCR, because now NCR definition is expanding in New Delhi, but the NCR which comprises of the Gurgaon, New Delhi, I would say, will not take the Ghaziabad, Sahiwabad, Gurgaon, New Delhi, Faridabad, and say Noida, not Greater Noida. That will also be about 25 million people. So we are talking of very strong populations, urban, business centers, and the power crisis. Watch that situation. Heavy power crisis. I think Gurgaon faces today minimum 8 to 10 hours power cut. Faridabad, I've seen my friends are telling me 12 hours. In Mumbai, you go to Dombali Kalyan, you go to Navi Mumbai, it's all between 4 to 6 hours today. The staggered power cuts that happen. It's around 4 to 6 hours per day. And we are putting up the inverter loads. What are the inverter loads doing? People are thinking that the capacity requirements will come down, but they are doing a deadly thing. The inverter loads go to periods of, I would say, peaks, and again make it, I would say, extensive peak. And non-peaks, there is no base load anymore, become the peaks. And you have a situation that you are drawing power for utility at a time when you don't have it, in a period when there is already a shortage of demand. So crisis expands, because you are not, by making a load shedding, you're not solving the problem, you're only multiplying the problem, both for the consumer and for the utility. So power load shedding is definitely not an answer. It is the worst situation. The third point is, there is a calculation by our friends in Vatsila. So how much it impacts the GDP, those cost of power, real cost of power, and the GDP impact. We also did such calculations at Inertia. And in our estimate, those calculation comes to anything like 2 to 3 points of GDP can be knocked off with a shortfall of something like 10 to 15% of power. Today, what we are not talking about is dangerous. The reality is the urban centers of India are actually short by 25% in peak loads. And when I say peak loads, 80% of the day is peak load. Take the example of Mumbai. The restaurants, the call centers, and the rest of the businesses actually start operating in time of the day when we think the load will come down, the industrial load would come down. But where are the industries? They already shifted to outside of Mumbai. And then we see there is no shift from the peak. The demand curve is such that it's almost flattening with a peak situation throughout. And sudden surges do come in the day as demand surges in the night. Yeah. Demand also surges up very much in the daytime. Call centers operate 3 shifts and they also push in their demands. It's a big call center businesses are moving both in Pune and Mumbai. And that will not end. The knowledge processing center, because predominantly we are becoming a soft economy. Manufacturing is moving to states like Himachal Pradesh, or they are moving to, more interiors of Maharashtra. It's no more around Mumbai. Like you say, the industrial belt of the Thane Belapur slowly and steadily has also seen, if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Patil will correct me, a lot of call centers and a lot of soft business stuff. Yeah. So, but yet the loads have not come down. Loads have only gone up. Different type of loads are coming in. I would see that if we continue in this current situation with that kind of capacity addition, talking about only minus 13% kind of shortfall, which the Planning Commission throws up that data every moment, I think that data is incorrect. We have already done that in our the report called India's Power and Energy Economy when we released it in the last Energy Awards. That report clearly talks about a 22 to 25% shortfall in the minimum for India. And for cities which are in the urban center, it could be even worse. I could say a peak deficit of 40% is not a big issue. It's a normal issue. It's something like you are just ensuring that you cut off predominantly a major portion of your city without electricity. Now our friends in Mumbai keep talking about the Mumbai, but that's an island we are talking about. We're talking about the main downtown of the city at Nariman Point, Khaf Parade, and little bit up to Walkeshwar, and the city ends there for them. Believe me, the expansion of the city has happened beyond, and almost like 20 million population outside that periphery, and you're keeping them in the dark. So this situation will persist. The power crisis will persist. If we continue to have only a singular mind strategy of adding the large power, it is like the patient is suffering. The patient needs the medicine is on the way, patient is suffering, the medicine is coming, now the doctor is on the way, the doctor is coming, patient's condition is going bad to worse, and I tell you, the doctor comes, before the doctor comes, the patient is gone. So if we want to avoid that situation, the only answer in a real time is to go for decentralized and distributed power as a clear cut. I would say, okay, if you don't have a long-term strategy for it, have a short and a medium-term strategy for it. And medium-term is definitely in power sector something like a 7-year strategy in the minimum. A short-term strategy would be 2 to 3 years. So we have come to this seminar with a plan and a talk, and to find out whether we get a consensus of ideas, and definitely there will be differences. There will be also, I would say, different views on this. But can we make a 50 gigawatt target for the 12th plan? The 12th plan starts 2012. India works on a 5-year plan model. So the 12th 5-year plan starts in 2012, which will just arrive before we blink an eye. This time is moving very fast. And 2012 to 2017, can we add 50 gigawatt? I will tell you that this is not illogical what we are talking about. I'll give you some supporting facts to this. The Power Ministry recently has come up with a report, and that report says that we have added, while they have a target of 78,000 megawatt from the large and medium, they are saying that they may not achieve the 78,000 megawatt. They would end up around 62. I would say even the most optimistic people would say 55. Fine. 55 is not bad, because we are almost tripling what we did in the last plan of 18,000 megawatt. 18 into 3 is 55,000. But yet the shortfall of 20,000 can be dangerous for the country, what you have planned. And that is being fulfilled or fed from the captive and decentralized industry. And believe me or not, that figure has come right in the power ministry's website as 15,000 megawatt. That is 15 gigawatt already. In another 2 years, I would not be wrong if I say it will go to 28 or 27 gigawatt. So we are not talking out of our hat or hitting the roof. We're being still conservative, like we did in the 28th July solar seminar when we took the target of 40 gigawatts solar for the National Solar Mission. Because we said you cannot call it a National Solar Mission and put the name of Jawaharlal Nehru, such a fantastic statesman and a developing Prime Minister, without having a target which is good. Running a 100-meter race at 16 seconds makes sense. Makes no sense, So I say similar kind of stuff here. For decentralized energy, targets are reasonable. Because it's unbelievable. In that seminar, and that entire coverage is there with you in your bag, in the issue of July, you would see that speaker after speaker, in fact, surprised me beyond imagination, surprised some of our friends who are here, beyond imagination, saying my target of 40 gigawatt compared to 20 gigawatt is also not very large. So it was music for the ears, right? And then we had a plan, so we are going to give the white paper off to the powers that be, that what happened and why people felt that 40 gigawatt was important solar. Similarly, 50 gigawatt is definitely critical and it is not a large target. Because here, there is demonstrated evidence of achieving 20 gigawatt to 27 gigawatt in this plan itself, of which I would say half of it would be decentralized and distributed power by definition. And I'm saying, I'm not talking of the entire decentralized and distributed power segment. As I started, I told you, we are only talking of the gas-based and biodiesel-based decentralized distributed power to have a 50 gigawatt. I would be happy if the solar decentralized and others add another 15 to 20. No problem with that issue, right? But this is the scene. Now the next question would be, I would give off to the other speakers who must ponder availability of gas, which has been now, that question is going to be not a big question. It's available. I think the most important question will come, the pricing of gas. Probably people would look at that angle to talk about gas pricing. But I would give you a scenario. Today, most builders or constructors in Mumbai are taking large projects in the suburbs. These large projects are like 1,000 apartment projects. If we see the office development plans, you see the requirements are also very large. And I see a huge opportunity here because all of them are using diesel-based power. Imagine putting a 20,000 kVA standby kind of capacity, talking of 8 hours of operation, ending up operating for 12 hours with that kind of thing, and then 18 hours with that kind of thing in the future. And we are doing two big harm to the economy. One is we are using subsidized diesel. Second, we are putting more and more carbon into the atmosphere, right in the middle of the city. And this is no clean development, believe me. And all of this is camouflaged in an idea called the maintenance bill for the flat. So the tariff of power, which we are talking about, is a misnomer because the tariff is camouflaged. You pay 5,000, 7,000 rupees for your maintenance bill per month to your cooperative society. And he says, the builder says, I give you 24 hours electricity. And that one, we are paying something in the region of 16 rupees to 20 rupees. It could be anywhere in between this. And if we go, it will be 25 rupees. And we are saying, we want cheap power from the grid. I don't understand this. Because any decentralized issue with gas would even today run between 8 to 10 rupees commercially. And that is still half the price that the consumer is paying today for that segment. I'm not even talking of the combined heat and power mode. I'm simply talking of supply of electricity from gas-based decentralized power. So the whole idea must be reinvestigated. The whole idea of cost of power must be revisited. And we should see, are we just killing our economy? And are we taking the subsidy which is not meant for us, driving our cars, not only driving our cars, which is only 30%, but also actually fueling our electricity using diesel-based power plants. So that is the fundamental issue for us. And I would request this forum to throw up more ideas across the day as we meet today, so that we can publicize this and we can take back a white paper on decentralized power to the ministry, to the planning commission, and to the powers be, so that they look into the real aspect of this. I can tell you that this forum can definitely do it. We have done in the past. At least we have brought one policy construct, which is 5,000 megawatt of decentralized and distributed power has been allocated gas, at least on paper, at the Central Electricity Authority. Now we don't have Rakesh Nath there. I hope that that paper actually becomes, it's a cabinet note and it's under approval. I hope that really comes up in the market and we get that. And we had recommended not 5,000 but 20,000, 25,000 megawatt. That's the picture over there. So we are saying now 50. Watch that. So the whole issue is that we would support this, and we have another angle to this, which is the transmission capability. The state grids are definitely at the 200-400 kV level, and we can put this power at 11 kV to 33 kV level. If it's solar tomorrow, which we are not discussing here, is 33 kV, but all this can go at 11 kV. So we have a very good chance of getting this electricity right in a localized way, and not wait for things to be transported and reach us. I'm not saying that will not come. That can come in the 7 years, 6 years, 5 years in its own plan. But we cannot keep our country devoid of electricity and devoid of development, and then hammer our GDP down further by not allowing people to consume electricity and move their economic trains, and continue their economic growth path. So this would be very dangerous, if we start getting our people off electricity, put them off in real terms of the grid, and then we can have greater damage, we can have greater socio-economic impacts. We would be in real, I would say, trouble if we do that. For this, the solution is what we have today, and this is what we're trying to deliberate. Can this kind of capacity be built? Can we go there? Can we tell the government that this is really feasible? Thank you, my friends. I thought I will start a little bit because there are a couple of speakers who are not there, so I thought I'll take a little bit more time this time. And let me now go ahead and start with our first presentation today. May I request Dr. Hridesh Khanna, and he has a great idea. Will present a few cases to you. They are international cases, and MTU has also done some work in India, and it's excellent work that's being done, and I believe he can throw some insights into successfully giving decentralized power to both utilities and communities. May I request Dr. Hridesh Khanna to enlighten us today.
Thank you very much, Professor Iyer, for giving us this opportunity to be here and say something about our experience with gas power systems and gas-based intelligent utilization of energy. That is one of the topics which I would like to talk today. And I don't know, MTU, I would like to introduce first to all of you. And MTU On-Site Energy is a new business unit of the Tognum Group, which is doing on-site energy based on fuel cells, based on gas engines, and based on diesel engines. We are also using gas turbines. We are mainly in Germany and in Europe, with an agreement with GE for the aeroderivatives, which is also a concept on decentralized based energy systems. So looking back at Tognum is a synonym of MTU, because MTU was a company which was established in 1909 in Friedrichshafen in Germany. It was called the Luftfahrzeug Motorenbau. That means air in the aeronautic areas and in the engine area, actually. Then you may have heard about the Maybach motor. Maybach is the flagship of the the Daimler-Benz actually. That is one of the similar Rolls-Royces of Germany, and that was established also in Germany in 1908. And this tells you a little bit about the background of MTU. So MTU became in 1966 the merger of Maybach Motorenbau with Daimler-Benz heavy-duty business and formation of Maybach Mercedes-Benz Motorenbau. So if our background is coming from the engine business, we are manufacturing engines for on-road and off-road systems. Right? So later on, MTU was formed in 1985 with MAN as a joint venture, and that is how MTU further developed. They took over the Detroit diesel operations in the US in 1994 and began a cooperation to sell the 2000 and 4000 series. 2002 joint management of the Daimler Chrysler AG off-highway business unit by MTU and DDC off-highway. This was separation, and as you know, with the European scenario today, the monopolies acts are becoming very crucial, and the governments are telling to unbundle certain businesses so that these monopolies are not maintained, and it's a legal requirement. So certain businesses have to be separated. And that's how Daimler Chrysler then did sold it to EQT. EQT established the name of Tognum for the engine business. And engine business itself is a huge business for MTU, which is between 2.5 to 3 billion euros. And this company was separated from the aero engines and into the diesel and the combustion engines actually. So 2007 Tognum shares were listed on Frankfurt, and because of the name MTU still remained, so MTU Engine Company came under the flag of Tognum. So if you look at the Tognum group, we are in two business units basically over here. One is the engine system and one is the on-site energy, and today we are going to talk about the on-site energy, which mainly covers the gas engine system that I mentioned earlier, then the diesel engine system and the fuel cell systems. So also diesel engines I have mentioned here because diesel is one of the main areas of MTU, and here we are also working on highly efficient emission-oriented systems over here. So these we are today fulfilling the requirements of the Californian emission requirements, which are going to be in place in 2015. We have already achieved these today. So to quote Professor Iyer, as you mentioned, we have to look at the emissions today in a holistic concept, and we just cannot overlook and say we are just going to manufacture engines and utilize energy resources and pollute our systems today. This is the main focus of MTU, to here develop engines in an eco-friendly manner, whatever that technology is, and it is a high-end technology which we are bringing to the market, and we will not go away from that and say that we will be going in for we will be compensating with lower-end technologies over here. So MTU, ladies and gentlemen, is a technology-oriented company. The focus as a German engineering industry has always been on technology and remains on technology. Here's a few examples of the applications of the different business units. So if you see, also diesel engines are being used in prime power, continuous power, prime power, and here are some of also the business units. I can see probably from here. So we are using our engines also in other areas. Also in the defense and navy in India, we are supplying a lot of our units over here. That means something. And what does that mean? Technology has to be reliable. Efficiency is one aspect, but reliability is also another major aspect of technology, because as you know, the blackouts and brownouts which are happening over here, that means that the reliability part and the availability part of energy is not here. So where are we present? We are present all over the globe here, as this chart depicts over here. And main areas, manufacturing plants are in US and Germany, and we have a plant small plant in Suzhou in China. In India, we are coming in a big way. Also, we are making an R&D center over here in India. We have our offices here in India and Pune, and our distributors in various areas. For the gas engines, we have in Bangalore, Maxwatt Energy, and for the diesel engines, we have here Sterling and Wilson in Bombay over here. So both gentlemen are over here. So Mr. Avinash Lina is representing Sterling and Wilson over here, and Mr. Garg is from Maxwatt Energy over here. So just looking at some of the figures over here, if you look at the number game over here, then you can see the divisions and the business units and what they're doing. Our last year's sale was roughly about 2.6 billion, and this was because of the financial crisis. So our business dropped by roughly about 15 to 20% in certain areas, but which is again picking up very fast this year. And we currently again are getting into delivery problem, because deliveries are getting longer. It's not only with us, but it's also with our sub-suppliers. Their deliveries are also getting longer. So this shows that the energy business is again picking up very fast, and the demand is there, the capital is there, and the programs are there. And we have heard the new 5-year plan is starting over India, and for India also we have to see that how we can come to the distributed concept. Here are some of the examples of worldwide airports, hospitals, data centers, utilities, which we are doing in various areas. Here, these are some of the other examples: 60 megawatt power systems, and in all over the world. We are also helping the nuclear power plants, which is a debatable issue, but naturally with the energy crisis in India, we cannot ignore this type of energy. It is clean energy, nuclear energy. The question is the after treatment of that, and that's a different issue over here, which I will not go through now, but it is one of the factors which we have to live with, and for that also we are, as I mentioned earlier, we are a technology company, and we provide technology and solutions for different applications in different areas. On the gas systems, this is the topic of today. We are doing, here are some of the examples which we have done worldwide. It's one of the major heart surgery hospitals in Bangladesh, where we are doing 4 heart operations every day. We are supplying them with power and over there, and it is a very crucial issue for them, because they have. I was there about 3 weeks back, and they told me if your engines won't be there, we would have a lot of problems, because especially when the heart surgery is going on and the power is not there, then you can imagine the outcome of that, you see, which we naturally don't want. Then we have a chip production company in China. Chip production is also highly crucial over here, so we have supplied the energy systems over here. Then another example is of public pool in Germany. here we are using the cogeneration system over here, so utilizing power and heat intelligently over here, and using a very efficient application of the energy resource over here. The question today is, it is not only power, but it's also energy and utilizing of energy in an intelligent manner. Actually, this is where we'll be heading to. The more we are becoming aware of the energy utilizations. Then when we are looking at greenhouses in Netherlands, where also this is a cogeneration aspect, but also we are utilizing the exhaust gases over here in the biochemical processes. So the carbon dioxide is used for the plants over here and whereas the methane gas is used for power and heat over here, because the temperature is required for the plants to grow over here. Another intelligent application is the biogas area, which will be also very interesting. We are also doing a project in India, as I will show it to you later on, which we are utilizing the cow dung and getting the methane out of the cow dung and utilizing that methane to produce power over here. And there's another example of the biogas plant in Germany, which is a similar application as I mentioned earlier. So now talking about our gas engines, we're coming to the gas engines, gas power systems. And the cogeneration, as I mentioned earlier, we are the market leaders in Europe, and here we manufacture engines between 100 kilowatt to 2 megawatts. This plant was founded in 1977. We have already sold more than 2,000 cogeneration modules installed worldwide, and more than 4,000 gas engines delivered worldwide. Here are some of the views of our production facilities in Augsburg. Augsburg is the center of competence for the gas area, and the production capacity over here is roughly about 500 units per year. We have all the test facilities over here, so all our engines are tested on not only on engines but also the complete systems. And one of the most interesting things is it is not only tested as a mechanical or technical part, but we simulate the exact ambient conditions and the gas conditions which are applicable over here for certain projects, and come up to that level and test our gas engines for those specific values for which these gas engines have to be delivered. So for instance, for India, where we have 40 to 45 degrees Celsius ambient conditions and maybe 80% humidity, we create that condition over there based on the gas quality. We simulate the gas quality and test and deliver the engines according to those specific conditions, which nobody else does today, because I know that from my previous experience with other manufacturers where I was heading those operations also. So this is something which is exceptional as far as MTU does. The ISO certification is also there, and testing facilities R&D, which I mentioned already. So here are some of the pictures showing where the test facilities are actually. So we won the Eco Profit Award for being one of the most ecological companies in Germany, and that is also presented. So ecology and environment is one of the major issues in MTU, and MTU is following that very, very strictly. So coming to India, we were not in India in the gas business, and we just came into India about 1.5 years back. it was also due to the non-availability of the gas, and India was undergoing under some difficulties in the gas distribution, so MTO did not focus on India at that time, but now we are focusing on India because the gas availability is increasing and the quality of gas is also good over here. So as I mentioned earlier, we are doing a biogas plant in India, which is about 1.2 megawatts, which is being developed in Madhya Pradesh. This is under construction, and once it starts operating, here we have the smaller 375 kilowatt engines of the biogas. Then we have done a plant, steel exchange in India, which has been commissioned in March, which is one of our 20 V4000 engines specifically for power supply, and this is connected to the grid.